Welcome to this week's episode of Confessions of a PT. We hope you've all had a fantastic week, and as always, we appreciate the love for you guys. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking around the topic body positivity. So, Mr. Cal, how have you been?
Been well, mate. Yeah, very good. Yourself?
Yeah, been busy, mate, but embracing it at the moment. I'm going to go straight in with my views on body positivity. I can see why it's come out in regards to the mental health crisis that we're in, but my views on it is, for a better term, the snowflake society. There needs to be getting people to grips with prioritizing their health and fitness and allowing people to see, not everyone, but certain individuals of body positivity, I think can be very, very destructive.
Yeah, I think when you normalize something and accept something, you lower standards, and we're getting a backlash of the problem of that now. Of it's very normal to be certain body shape, certain body weight, certain body fat percentage that we know correlates to chronic illness, disease, and a whole host of different problems. And I get what some of these companies have tried to do. They've tried, like Victoria's Secret, for an example, they've tried to pivot and say, look, no one wants to see size 0 models. That's not the real world. I get that and actually agree with that.
Yeah.
Because that's not the way the world is. But then they've tried to kind of cater to the fact that the average person is in this kind of shape, or so many people are in, and rather than say, how do we pull these people from here to here, it's been like, how do we make these people feel better about it? And that is leading to inaction that's further entrenching in the behaviours that are keeping them, the stats are getting worse. So at some point you do have to have a bit of a tough conversation and say there's problems healthcare wise when we do this style of eating, this style of lifestyle, this lack of movement without any kind of pressure on change.
Yeah, my target audience is the dad bod, and it annoys me. You see the term, it's not a dad bod, it's a father figure. Like, they're just accepting being a mess, one as a father, and just the way you look. And I've always preached about this, and I said it in previous topics before. You are your kid's role model, and kids mimic everything they see their parents do. And if you're just got, again, crap eating habits, you're drinking all the time, sitting on the couch like a slob, just not doing any exercise, your kids will then filter in, and then that's another generation that has to be brought up with, is going to have issues left, right and centre. It's difficult because people are offended with whatever you say, and not everyone's going to like you and stuff like that in the world we live in. Dick, let's go. It's just, it can't be accepted as that, for the relative word term, normal. You have to be aware of the health implications that it does then for a later life, whether it's diabetes, all these things you need to be paying attention to. And if this is just accepted, we're in an obesity crisis as it is. The NHS is on its knees. Like, there's so many red flags that are just everywhere that people just aren't paying attention to, or they're masking because, you need to love me for the way I am, or it's. And what I want to, you said something that was fantastic on social media, which I would love you to say to the listeners and viewers about, as humans we are great at rationalising. It was gold.
Yeah, I mean, we are the most rationalising creatures, and it's so easy for us to put up with certain kind of behaviours and to just be like, oh, but it's, I'm just busy, or I can't eat that well because I can't afford it, or I can't, and then, or do something and then reverse engineer the rationalise. Oh, well, I was tired, or I didn't go, and it's just, it does to me feel like there's almost like a bit of a war on self-development sometimes. And it's an easier narrative to push, let's just make sure everyone's happy. And by happy, I mean not complaining. So people aren't, if they feel bad about themselves, they're just made to feel better. Like, rather than, what could you do? What proactively could you change? How much would you get out of fixing some of the things that are controllable to you, like your movement, your diet, that kind of thing. And then you'll get praise when you've done it, not praise just now that like, well, you're just great, we just love you for you at X disease marker, X overweight. It can't.
It's like when do you cross that line as well, isn't it? Like you're in dangerous territory, or most people are in dangerous territory at the moment. It might be a week, it could be a month, a year. When you do eventually cross it, you've got nowhere to go then, for sure.
And sometimes I think we just need a bit more of a tough love message. You know, there's at least a 400 million to 1 chance of you being born. So then when you're born, you've got one life. And it's, do you just want to waste it on chicken nuggets, instant gratification,
turkey dinosaurs,
bully bear ham, like, you know, in the moment, and be like, it's just nice to feel warm and nice now? Or do you want to move towards fulfilling your potential? And then people that want to fulfill their potential almost highlight the people that don't, and the people that don't feel bad. And rather than them being inspired by the people that are, they just feel bad, and then they just want an arm around the shoulder and a pat on the back for feeling. And it's like, life is competition. It doesn't work like that.
Massively.
Like, no, I was just going to say that. Yeah, like it needs to be more of a tough love approach.
Yeah, I feel like the gap is going to increase more with people that are lazy to people that train. That's just going to just extend more and more, and vice versa. And I know we were going to touch on this on a different topic with like comparing yourself to people. I feel like when people, it could be positive or negative. I know comparisons are fee for joy, but when you see someone that is in shape or taking control of their life, it's just then you go back into that more of a reserved approach of feeling like I'm not good enough and I'm a mess. But I feel like tough love is needed, because people just need to be made aware of it's not right what you're doing, and it could be too late and stuff like that. So definitely agree with that.
I don't necessarily agree with fat shaming or body shaming, but there's a lot of instances where it has worked, where people have been really quite aggressive with like their mates or things like that as a call to action to get them to change. And then once they've changed, they're not angry at them for they're pleased that they got over the hump. Do you know what I mean? It's this, if you're not going to change or you're going to stay where you are, I could see how you would want to rationalize that, and you'd want to kind of stay in that mode, because it's uncomfortable to think about that you're not filling your potential. It's uncomfortable to think about that you're in control of it, that like no one really cares whether you die early, you know, thrive in life, maximize your human experience. Apart from maybe 1 or 2 really close pals and your parents, no one could care less.
No one's going to do the work for you.
So, like, why not use that as motivation and be like, wow, that's quite liberating, really, to think of that.
I think one of the big issues with it is these quick fixes. So I don't know if you remember the Clean 9 diet. Do you know when that came out? It was like
there's so many of them.
9 days, or like booty and stuff like that. Like we've said this, like there is a quick 4-week weight loss, or you'll get instant abs and stuff like that. Like the marketing, there needs to be regulations, in my opinion, of, excuse my French, bullshit advice, because you'll see so much things on the internet of this is the right one for you. There's so many conflicting opinions and diets and transformations. Again, we spoke about this with social media being like editing and stuff like that. It's false thing, and then when people get that sense of failure, they're just knocked another 3 months down the line. I think this is the issue. Like there isn't a magic pill, there isn't a quick fix. It's consistency, and we've said this before about meeting you or where you're currently at. Like there isn't, you're not going to do it overnight, especially if you've had 25 years of being an absolute mess and you're 26 stone plus. You're not going to be 14 stone in 4 months, which is what some of them preach and promise you, which is nonsense.
Yeah, and then if you're in a bad place, there's loads of support out there, like physically, I mean, like a bad place, but you've got to be logical about what it will take you to. You can't be seduced by the marketing and think, if I'm not completely transformed to my dream body in 6 months, it's a non-starter. You've got to kind of brick by brick build up, get some momentum, and kind of feel that like you're enjoying the process and you're not so detached to the result, and you're just step by step by step.
Yeah.
And then like over time you'll like completely get ahead. But you can't have comedians and things like that saying you can't tell these kind of jokes.
Snowflakes again, isn't it?
Well, just because what
You're gonna
point
upset
does
someone.
but what point does feeling good or not feeling bad? You've probably had it in the past where I can still think now of times people have given me really tough love, like stern advice that I needed to hear, that I'm not like, oh, I can't believe they said that. That was so out of order. Like they should have been more considerate of my feelings. I'm like, you were so right. You were so right. I knew that on some subconscious level, but like hearing it from you in that tone at that time kind of just made me think, yeah, okay, no more. Like now's the time.
Yeah.
And if you can't give that, then you got even less chance of change.
I know Jay Alderton did a really good quote about, like we touched on, about you're not going to make everyone happy and someone's going to hate you. I think the quote he used was, you could save like a burning baby from a building and someone's still going to think you're a prick. Like, it's so true, the world we live in.
Yeah.
And going back to the podcast topic I spoke about, Brian Johnson, it was really fascinating about how our mind is in control of our whole body, but he's put his whole body into AI. So he listens to what his liver's saying, what his kidneys are saying, like all of this internal organs. Why does your mind have to be in control? And when people develop this association with being comfortable, that just gets more and more and more. If they've happened to do less because, oh, I feel good, are you actually feeling good? And is it going to be too late before you realise that, oh my God, I'm actually not good, but my mind's telling me I am? So where does that line cross? It was interesting.
And another topic that springs off the back of that is the difference between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure is like eating a wisp of gold now, like, oh, this tastes nice, like the mouth pleasure. Happiness is like, I'm on a journey to better myself, I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm boosting my fitness, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Being told that you're just great for you, people just love you, is just like that cheap dopamine of that kind of that pleasure of just maintain, like, let's not have negative emotions. Whereas taking steps to change is like that happiness of that kind of, this would be easy for me not to do, but I am doing it. I am kind of making an effort. I am kind of trying, you know, and there's so much fulfillment comes from that. And we think that you can just be really, really overweight and buy a Gucci bag and it's like, life is great. Yeah. And it's like, no, that's a fleeting pleasure that will come through you, that won't last. More of a fulfillment is for you to get to your goal weight, or lift X, or do this or do that you said you were going to do, keeping promises with yourself, building your confidence, and then kind of stacking that on and getting into even more of a positive spiral. It's not just let's rationalize where you're at, let's not think badly, let's avoid negative emotions, let's just you're great, we love you. Because it doesn't work.
I think the perception of what health and fitness is, I mean, Men's Health magazine, you're going to get the most stacked, probably roided up person. So that comparison of that top butt, I know we touched on that isn't health and fitness for everyone. Like, everyone wants a six pack and stuff, but I feel like where we've been misled is you've got that version of it, but the opposite side, you've got the, I don't know, size 14 models that have come on. Like, there's no in between. So for like the average Joe, which is probably what most of coaches or PTs train, they're bang in the middle, so they're aiming for this, and then are they okay to be that? There's no in between. So I don't know if what could potentially be is more realistic expectations, but then on the flip side of that, is that just muddy coupling, saying, oh, you're fine the way you are, and it's what are people willing to sacrifice to get X? And I'm a big preacher of, yes, we want you to look good, but for me it is important that you feel good. I feel like discipline is like doing actions that are now that is going to benefit like the future version of yourself. Like you said, happiness, you're going to be healthier and stuff like that. But when you have any negative emotion with that, it's you fall at the first hurdle, and people aren't used to getting knocked down and getting back up because they get knocked down and, oh, I'll go and try this approach then. Like, you've got to be invested and be prepared to have negative emotions as well as a lot of positive, rather than, oh, that didn't work for me, I'm going to go, you like, I think it's the, what is that word. I can't remember it now. I'm sure. I think it was focus or something. But it's a little analogy. I'll come back to it. But I've forgotten it now.
Yeah, I think the avoiding negative emotions will only get you so far, because you've got to be able to. It's those emotions that make you think about changing something. Like when you're on a fitness journey and you're not getting anywhere, you want to be a bit frustrated where if I do miss my reps, if I miss my sets, if I cut my workout short, I don't get where I should be. And then almost like sit in that and be like, I don't like this. So next time I train, I'm going to push for a bit more because I ain't feeling like this again. Whereas if it's just like, but it's just great, you just did, there's no need to be negative about anything.
Yeah.
That doesn't drive you on. And I think it's you don't want, there's big mental health challenges with people that suffer from things, and you don't want to kick people when you're down. But often the way out of a low feeling is to find a purpose or a passion or a lane of fulfillment that realize you kind of can do it if you think differently. And more of kind of arm around the shoulder, just everything's fine won't do that. It needs to be, we're saying, a bit of tough love, a bit of something that kind of makes you think, yeah, you're right, can do this, let's stand up with it. Yeah, I mean, it's a good, the world we live in, eh?
Yeah, I don't see it slowing down in 2024. Like
just gone straight over his head.
Yeah?
The world we live in.
Oh, damn it, missed it! I was thinking too much then. Okay, my confession. This was when I was very young and very just started. 19 years old, sorry, working at the leisure centre. Say that quite a lot as well. So I had a client. I went to work after a night out on a Saturday, and my shift was 7 till 4 on a Sunday. I come in and I'm so hungover, like when your mouth is all gammy and stuff like that. Anyway, so I had this couple come in that wanted a tour for the gym. So the leisure centre I worked at had a gym, health suite, swimming pool, stuff like that. So I've gone to the gym, speaking about it, like half dying, gone downstairs to the swimming pool. And I kid you not, I've gone to show him and I cannot speak. Like my mouth is so dry and I'm looking around trying to see if there's a drink of water. And I've gone over to the swimming pool and I've just slurped the swimming pool water. And they are looking at me horrified. And I'm like, right, come this way. They never signed up. I don't know why. I was so disgusted at myself. I come back and my manager come in on Monday and he was like, did they sign up yesterday? And I'm like, no, they didn't. I have no idea why. But I think back on it, and I was like, literally, but I couldn't speak. Like my mouth was so dry, my tongue and everything like that, and I was like, I just panicked. And
have you seen Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey when he gets the cotton
the chewing gum?
When he gets the cotton mouth.
But it was that bad cotton mouth. But I look back on it now, and I'm horrified. But even like there was people in the pool swimming, and I'm just like I only just wet on my lips. Oh God, absolutely
well,
horrific.
I appreciate the honesty there.
Yeah, I've matured a bit since then. I'd like to think anyway. Yeah, I wouldn't go to work hungover now, but yeah, terrible things you do when you're young, eh? That's good.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. That concludes another episode. Please let us know any topics that you'd love to hear us talk about. We are happy to branch away from more of the training and put the world to rights with other things such as conspiracy theories. And so we'll see you again next week. Take care.